What is going on, YouTubenites? You know what? I rarely don't wear a Lords of the Long Box shirt for the show, but in honor of last night, you gotta. This is one of the best shirts ever, by the way. It's a T-shirt that's basically a comic book. You see, it's got the price right here, and it's the old school. The saga continues. But like I said in the live chat, please, no spoilers for those who have not seen it yet. It's only been less than 24 hours, to be honest with you. Luckily on the West Coast, I was aired at 12 o'clock. Interesting factoid. Last night, the Disney Plus servers crashed because I immediately tried to log in at midnight to watch The Mandalorian, and it took at least 3 or 4 tries. They had an error message. We are experiencing technical difficulties, internet, blah, blah, blah. And I finally got in, and it was totally worth it. My God. But that's neither here nor there, boys and girls, because today is another edition, the 17th edition, actually, of Letters from the Long Box, where myself and Mikey Sutton answer your viewer mailbag questions, anything regarding the MCU, DCEU, Star Wars, who knows what we're going to get tonight. And as I've been teasing for this whole week, Mikey's like saying, hey, man, I got a scoop that I want to drop for you live while you're doing Letters and Long Boxes. Typically, I don't do this show live. I do this pre-recorded, but you know what? He said go live because he wants to see my reaction. So and I was so tempted to ask for hints throughout the day. And I was like, you know what? I am going to just be. So this is why I go in one of those reaction videos. So shout out to everybody in the live chat. Thanks for joining me. I know there's a lot of stuff going on today, but we'll probably get through this in about a good 15, 20 minutes. Then you can go about your day, Friday night. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Let me see who we got. Let me see. Our friend Red Lodge Crow, Spineworks Comics, Victoria Pagak, Spineworks Comic Talk. Nice to see you. Nemesis Prime holding it down with the wrench. I appreciate you hanging in there with us, brother. Alex Perez, Revy Winchester, Sassy Pants, Miguel H. Just goes on and on. Kid Collector Comics. Nice to see you in here. Nice to see Joey Does Comics in here. Nice to see all you guys in here. So, you know, my phone is already blowing up. It's like, hold on, man. All right, Mikey, come on, man. Okay. Oh boy. All right. I'm not gonna read. I haven't got it yet. It's in my inbox right now. I'm not gonna read it until we're done with this part of the show, which is Letters from the Long Box, where we answer your questions. So let's get right to it, boys and girls. So this is basically we take questions from the previous videos, and we've been a bit inconsistent with this because Mikey Sutton has been super busy, and to this week I've been so busy. I am hibernating the rest of the weekend. I cannot do any more videos. I think this is Justin, is this the 4th video this week in a row, which I rarely ever do. So you're not going to see me again on this channel until Tuesday when we do the CovrPrice top 10. But our friends at Beyond the Blast Doors are going live in an hour, and I may hop on there with Nemesis Prime just to talk Star Wars because there's so much to talk about. But let's get right to it, boys and girls. Let me take a drink of my Cavassier in a red cup that says free refills on it because I'm classy like that. All right. Good thing some of the people that are getting their questions answered are in the live chat. So let's get right to it. First question is from our man, Red Lodge Crow. Red Lodge Crow asks, any new rumors on Angela going to the MCU? Mikey's response is, the last I'd heard was she was still going to debut in Thor Love and Thunder. For those who don't know, Angela is obviously the retcon sister or half-sister of Loki. She's part of the 10th realm. There used to be only 9 realms, and then they created a 10th realm called Heaven, Heven, because these ain't the angels from the Bible. You know what I'm saying? These are more like archangels. So thank you for the question, Red Lodge Crow. Everybody's question that gets answered will get a Marvel No Prize. All right, next up is a question from Benjamin Cross. Just based on your opinion, out of all the trailers that Marvel and Disney dropped this week for Disney Plus, which TV show looked most appealing? So this is kind of like I guess, an opinion thing. Mikey's response is tough because they were wildly diverse and impressive. Probably Falcon and the Winter Soldier for me. That's from Mikey. And since you're asking both of us, I will also say Falcon and the Winter Soldier live action is probably the one that I like the most. But I am most excited for the What If animated series. All the stories they could tell. First of all, I'm a huge fan of the What If comics. They always have a tendency to turn dark, have a dark story to it. And the animation looks absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to see what they do with What If. And it'll be a bit of a sending off, because this is the last time that we will hear Chadwick Boseman in the MCU, because he did the voice acting on one of the episodes where I think Black Panther becomes Star-Lord. It goes, what if what's his name came down and found T'Challa instead of Quill? So that should be interesting. All right, next question up is from our friend Zhang Long Li. Is there a chance we can see Triumph's division in the MCU? That, my friend, is a very obscure question, but very good. So what he's referring to is Marvel Comics' first Filipino superhero team. The Marvel Comics' first superhero team will not debut until Agents of Atlas comes out. So not until Agents of comes out initially. So what we've been hearing from Mikey is that new Agents of Atlas is going to be coming to the big screen, most probably in a Shang-Chi sequel. Because there's the whole Pan-Asian marketplace that they can really use to their advantage if they do a new Agents feel. Because it's not only do they have Filipino characters, Chinese characters, Korean characters, a little bit of everything. So I mean, it would be a box office boon when the box office goes back to normal. And way down the road, Shang-Chi sequel will probably be another 2 years, 3 years down the road. But imagine New Agents of Atlas getting that gigantic Chinese box office, also in the Philippines and Japan and Korea, South Korea. I don't even know if North Korea has movie theaters. If they do, it's just there's only one screen. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for your question, Zhang Li. Our next question is a friend, longtime friend, friend of the channel, watches all the time, Eddie Gomez. Any truth about the rumors that Clea, Dr. Voodoo, and America Chavez will appear in Doctor Strange? Well, one of those is an easy answer. We already know America Chavez is coming, but they all will. Yes, is Mikey's response. And if I recall correctly, there was even talks of doing a Strange Tales spinoff featuring Dr. Voodoo and Clea and those characters, but also you could also see Dr. Voodoo appear in the we heard that was coming eventually because of the huge popularity of Strange Academy, that they are in early developments of thinking about how they can make a Strange Academy. And last I heard, and Mikey would correct me in the live chat, is it was going to be a Disney Plus show. Strange Academy is perfect fodder for Disney Plus. It fits that whole the Harry Potter demographic, young kids in a school, magic users. It's gold, right? And it would probably fit best on a long form storytelling and something they could put on Disney Plus. Disney Plus skews that age demographic as well. So I think you can see Dr. Voodoo, but Dr. Voodoo and Clea will definitely appear eventually. They may even be into the multiverse of madness. You never know. The cast seems to be growing and growing by the day. It grows multiverses by the day. So let's go to the next one. Hold on, boys and girls. I'm trying to read the live chat. Nemesis Prime, tell me if there's anything that I can answer or any good questions. Eugene Yang, I have a question. What's the future plans for Cloak and Dagger and Runaways? Yeah, you know what? That everybody seems to be asking that. So Mikey's response is, it's on the shelf for now. Having the X-Men intellectual properties now lessens much interest in bringing them back right now. And unfortunately, that is the probably the last swan song. Well, the last swan song of Jeff Loeb was a Hellstrom. but also Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways. And Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways have a interesting following. There's a lot of young people that really dug it because they saw themselves, that angsty teen dramas, and there's a place for that, I think. But polish it up, put it on Disney Plus, and with a better product and a higher budget. I actually really enjoyed Cloak and Dagger season 1. Runaways just kind of got a little bit odd to me. I think it could have been done better, but anytime you got a dinosaur, I'm down. That kid with the dinosaur on Runaways. And last season they had Morgan Le Fay on there. So they got some magic users, so you never know. But I think the constraints of Hulu and is the budgets that they have. And the word is that Feige wants Hulu under Disney Plus's umbrella so they can use that Disney Plus money. Imagine Cloak and Dagger with a nice sized budget, or even Runaways. Because imagine Cloak and Dagger with a budget where he could go full on Cloak, just swallowing people up. Oh, that would be awesome. But it has a cult following for young people. I mean, it's not highbrow television, for any stretch of the imaginations. But you know what? For like it's the CW crowd, the YA crowd, there is a following for Cloak and Dagger and Runaways. So I mean, I'm not one of those almost 50-year-old people poo-poos on things that aren't made for me. Like, I don't go and critique stuff that is not made for me. Cloak and Daggers and Runaways, obviously not made for me. You know what I mean? Star Wars Resistance, not made for me. I don't critique it, and it's there, and if you have kids, they'll probably enjoy it. You know what I mean? So, but I'm not going to say it's stupid because it's not made for older people or grouchy curmudgeons like myself, but you know what? I'm glad it's there because there should be a little bit for all ages of geekdom. You know what I mean? All ages, ethnicities, whatever you are, there should be something for everybody, is what I think, and it makes smart business sense too. You want a little bit for something for everybody. All right, the next one up. Oh man, long time, man. My man, that boy Steve. First off, welcome back. Glad to see you guys are still kicking and not sicking. I like that, kicking and not sicking. Coronavirus 2020. My question is, are there any plans for Mandalorian spin-offs Mikey may have heard of? Oh, Mikey's response is, I will have scoops soon, aside from what has been already officially announced. So we won't talk about what was announced last night. By the way, if you haven't seen the Mandalorian yet, wait to the end of the credits. They shoehorned a nice little end credit scene in there that teases another series. So I'm just leave it at that. Please don't say anything else, guys. All right, our last question is Colin Schreiber. Any plans for Christian Ritter's Jessica Jones? Of course, that's the Netflix version. Kevin Feige liked her and the series, so there will be in the near future. So there you go. I mean, it is rather an adult themed series. So I don't know how far you can get with that. But all roads are leading to that, Disney wants to expand with more adult related content, maybe, some R-rated stuff, because they have a huge library of stuff that they got from Fox. I mean, and once I think Fox has 20th Century Fox has certain contracts with other streamers where they have to finish those up. But when those contracts are up and those streaming services are available, you damn right Disney's going to find a way to put them on Hulu, on Disney Plus, or I think Mikey had a scoop where there was going to be a Disney Plus, not a parental lock, but a parental unlock. So basically, if you're logged in under another account, you don't see even the advertisements or even the pictures of this other content. But once you log in under this other account, it kind of merges the Hulu stuff with it, and you're able to see the R-rated content. And because let's face it, kids, we are in the middle of streaming wars like crazy right now. For Disney not to allow some type of platform to show tons of all this R-rated stuff that they acquired from 21st Century Fox, or 20th Century Fox. I'm already jumping. It would not make good business sense, right? It would only behoove them to be able to find a way to do this. And I'm sure once all those legal contracts were up, because when these movies came out from 20th Century Fox, they leased them out where they'll have a life on Netflix for a year or two. That's why there's articles that say what's falling off of Netflix this time, because those contracts end. Say when Amazon has these contracts where they can put it for free, or like you always see, there's like a $5 rental. If it's really new, it's a $20 rental on Netflix, but that's what it is. So let me go through the live chat, see if there's any questions I could answer for you. But would you guys like the scoop first? I'm pretty sure you guys are all here for the scoop. There's 67 of you there lathering up. And because it's a scoop, you know what I got to do, right? You guys know. Hashtag the word in there if you guys know, because I'm pretty sure you guys are down. I know you follow the Lords. What do I do right before we do a big scoop? Let's see if anybody guesses it. Just put in the word. Put in the word in the live chat and you win a Marvel No Prize. Not scoop, baby. Starts with a C. You guys are getting close. Cannonball! There we go. Kid Collector Comics. You win a Marvel No Prize. So I'm going to do this while I pull up the email that Mikey sent me. And this is a surprise.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
There you go, boys and girls. All right. Fresh scoop right here. It's in my mailbox, my inbox on, you can see it right there. Don't screenshot that, but this is lengthy. This is, all right, here we go. Let's see what it is. I've been waiting for this for 3 or 4 days as soon as I heard about it. Whew. Let me take a deep breath. Let me take a drink. All right. The following is a surprise scoop from Mikey Sutton at geekositymag.com. After Disney dropped nuclear missiles on Investor Day, all eyes turned to HBO Max. While HBO Max has large-scale original DC content already officially announced, such as the Snyder Cut and Greg Berlanti's Green Lantern series, it's obvious to everyone that we are looking up at the House of Mouse grinning with their infinity gauntlet of MCU and Star Wars weaponry. The Mandalorian season finale generated the kind of long-term buzz for Disney Plus that HBO covets. The Snyder Cut, for all the tremendous excitement it has generated among DC fans, doesn't change the fact that Snyder is a polarizing figure. Either loved or loathed, it won't interest the general public who had what it is, unlike Baby Yoda. So, you know, what they're saying is not everybody knows the Snyder Cut, but your grandmother knows what Baby Yoda is. When a regular person is asked about Green Lantern, they would immediately think of Ryan Reynolds' cinematic flop. So what will HBO Max do? To get the kind of water cooler for these days, Zoom conversations, text messages, they will need to bring the Joker or Harley Quinn to the streaming channel. But they can't, at least not in live action. Yet there may be a version of the Joker who'd pop up in an HBO series as a guest villain, but WB is concerned a Joker show could take away any interest of another theatrical film. And Harley Quinn has been pretty much adopted by Margot Robbie for a while, although Birds of Prey sequel won't take flight. But, you know, the animated series, everybody, I mean, it's synonymous. Harley Quinn is everywhere. So DC goes to its bench and looks for a solution. They can't use Joker, but they can bring in... We talked about this before, and this is the scoop. They can't use Joker, but they can use Punchline. In March, Punchline quietly showed up on a Lords of Longbox long-term spec list for DC films. With COVID-19 raging, the release of vaccines still won't open theaters on a grand scale for a while, and Disney Plus is in HBO Max's mind. I am told there's been discussions for a Punchline series for HBO Max. No development has begun yet. They're talking and tossing out ideas from a marketing perspective. From a marketing point of view, Punchline may be no Joker, but she's no joke either. Execs see her as a cross between the Joker and Harley Quinn, and that equals subscribers. We're not talking Mandalorian numbers here, but an R-rated, violent, dark female Joker is the stuff of streaming fantasies. Punchline is Joker's girlfriend, and there is a possibility for him to guess. Will it be... I don't know if Punchline is Joker's girlfriend quite yet. Is she? I don't know. Punchline and the Joker could appear in the Punchline series on HBO Max. Will it be Jared Leto? That'd be a smart move. However, since there's only chatter at the moment, this remains to be seen. There you go. That is huge. Punchline obviously came onto this we had heard this. We had a long-term spec list. Punchline right now, that comic really is the thing that started the renaissance of the DC spec, right? Well, maybe Naomi, but Punchline took it to whole new levels because this was the marketing that DC did really well. They teased that a new character was coming, and which built up the buzz of Punchline. And they've been doing it since with the new Wonder Girl, I do believe, that's going to be coming on the Future State version. But Punchline is in DC continuity. And it would behoove them to do this because she's hot right now. People can kind of see a Joker in her. They can see a Harley Quinn in her, but she's not nearly as jokey as Harley Quinn, but just as dangerous. Wow. Those Harley Quinn books, like I'm saying, man, hold on to them is what we've been saying, because she really became popular before all this madness started of 2020, right? I mean, because they hyped it up really well. But man, that Heart Punch. Imagine if HBO Max announces a Punchline series. Now, before you say, why would HBO Max make Punchline series when really nobody knows of her? The general public doesn't have any idea who Naomi is, and the CW is making a show about a character that hasn't even debuted in the comics yet. This goes back to what we've been saying, that AT&T and Warner Brothers are using the DC Comics to get intellectual property to put onto their different platforms. Right now, because movies are in limbo, they're using comic books to create intellectual property for HBO Max and the CW. Now, what's interesting is, do they really need comic books to create that intellectual property? They could do digital comics. Everything that I've heard from Mikey and other sources, AT&T does not want to be in the publishing business because the suits only see numbers. And, Future State is going in a certain direction. Remember, Future State is what was supposed to be the 5G initiative by Dan DiDio, who left back in October, which really started this whole downward trend. If you remember all the layoffs, the editorial staff, and then the shakeups at Fandom that didn't really talk about Jim Lee moving in different directions, it should excite you and scare you if you're a DC Comics fan that these projects are being made for HBO Max and the CW. Because eventually, not the comic people, maybe not some of the Warner Brothers people, but definitely the AT&T suits, they don't know anything about comics. They don't care anything about comics. And they just say, why don't you just create digital comics, creating these new characters so we could have the intellectual property? The rumor was that AT&T wants to sell off DC Comics. Well, that's not really accurately. They want to get rid of the publishing of it and the making of comics, but they want to keep the intellectual property. Now, ask yourself, who wants to buy a comic book company if you don't own the intellectual property to those characters, right? Because let's say I buy DC Comics, I'm publishing comics, and then I want to make a Batman. Well, I can't because AT&T wants to hold those rights. So Marvel would never, or Disney and Marvel would never do that. If they had big enough bucks, maybe they would do it just to put the DC Comics into the Marvel 616. But think about a smaller other publishers who would we don't mind. We don't have any way of making movies, so we will publish your comics. But, we shall see. That was the rumor. It's been floated around some other places. I don't like talking about this individual because he has basically the exact opposite views I do, but Ethan Van Sciver is one of the ones that also started saying this, and he has ties inside DC Comics. What Dan DiDio left and all the editors leaving, I mean, it's pretty interesting, man. But we shall see. The only way to go out and support, I guess I hate the term that people use now, is floppy comics, is go out every Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever they release. I think, don't they do it on Tuesdays now? Every Wednesday, and buy as many DC Comics as you can if you want them to keep publishing. Because guess what? The suits at AT&T only look at the numbers, the final line. They only look at the bottom line, and DC Comics isn't as profitable as the other things that AT&T owns. But they are into the digital aspect of it. And what should worry you is a person that took over Dan DiDio's job came over from, I forgot her name, but she came over from the digital comic side. So if you read the tea leaves, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but sometimes you read the tea leaves. The tea leaves lead you in the right way. The head of the DC Digital Comics is now heading up all the comics. He took over the end of Dial. There's a new Wonder Woman comic that's coming out, and it's done by Stephanie. I forgot her name, but I interviewed her before. She's doing the Klarna comic for Heavy Metal, and she said she's doing a new Wonder Woman comic that drops digitally in January. And then she says it's going to be collected and released in March. So when I put the 2 and 2 together, that means, okay, so Wonder Woman new series is going to be released digitally. And then in March, she said they're going to collect them. And you know, she's a writer, so maybe she doesn't know the words that she chose. But what tells me is if the comics get released in January digitally, and then they're going to release them in a trade format in March. So if you think about trades don't have the same limitations as single comics do, meaning trades can be sold anywhere, not just comic shops. Whereas opposed to comic shops, there's a reason they're called direct editions. They're sold specifically to comic shops, but trade paperbacks, omnibuses, and those things, they can be sold in bookstores. Somebody says, TiVo, what's a bookstore? Well, boys and girls, there used to be these places where you can go and buy books and drink coffee. So there it is, boys and girls. That is the big scoop that Mikey surprised on me. It looks like the Punchline talks are getting serious, and we're going to get a Punchline series for HBO Max. Can you believe that? If that happens, that book is going to skyrocket. But, you know, she's one of the more popular characters right now. So tell me what you guys think in the live chat, man. Let me, I will try to answer some questions in here. For you guys. Let me go back up here. If you guys have any questions, start dropping it now. Sorry, I didn't. What is the big Punchline key? That would be the Arisen book number 3. I just got a brain fart right now, but Hell Arisen number 3 is the first appearance, and then everybody argues about it after that. Let me go up. There was some good questions in here. Sorry, boys and girls. But go ahead and start popping your questions in there now. And I'll hang out with you for another few more minutes. I don't want to go too long in here. Let's see. Or you can ask now. There was a Spider-Man question. Yeah, so I mean, you know, whatever you guys think of what how DC is running their business, it's interesting too when they split from Diamond, and you know, our friends at Aegis Comics Collectibles had issues with their shipping of their comics. Are we going to see Sentinels in the MCU? Yes, definitely. Greg Bertrand asks, Spider-Man rights to Disney. Well, if you watch our video from 2 days ago, not necessarily the Spider-Man rights to Disney, but there's going to be a new deal with Disney and Sony that's going to give us another trilogy of Spider-Man films. And on top of that is the new deal that Mikey reported on will allow Sony, hopefully, if it works out, it's not anything. They haven't signed the dotted line yet. But if it works out, it's going to allow Sony to stream some of its stuff on Disney Plus. Win-win situation for both, right? But not outright buying. Sony's got a thing where, you know what? If they didn't own Spider-Man, who knows? They would have sold their film stuff right now. But Spider-Man is obviously a billion-dollar franchise, so you never know. Any word on the Wolverine Hulk film, TiVo? Not yet, but the last we had heard, it's going to be called... It's going to be happening. It's going to be the Hulk and Wolverine in Canada, and it's going to introduce Alpha Flight. So that was a scoop we did way back when from a man, Mikey Sutton, but that's what they're going to do. Basically, the Hulk goes rogue, and he ends up in Canada, and guess who looks for him when he's there? Weapon X from Canada. And then Alpha Flight is eventually going to make its introduction through that means. What about Silk when she comes to the MCU? Yes, Silk is coming, and we had heard if this deal comes through, there's going to be a Silk live-action series on Disney Plus, and that was a scoop we had a while ago. They're really high. There's some certain Spider-Man characters that Marvel would love to put on Disney Plus or in the MCU, namely Miles Morales, Silk, Spider-Gwen. Those are like the big three. I mean, I wouldn't even surprise me if we saw Silk in Into the Spider-Verse #2, the sequel to the animated film. Yes, Joseph Hidalgo. The question is, should we spec on Hobgoblin? Let me put the questions goddamn on the screen so you guys can see. Yes. One of our scoops from a few weeks ago, seems like a few weeks ago, was that Joseph Batalon, the Peter Parker's homie in the first two films, who is Ned Leeds, is going to eventually turn into the Hobgoblin. Maybe Spider-Man 3, possibly Spider-Man 4, but yes, it would be a no-brainer to spec that one. I think that would be great. Thank you, Mikey, for hanging out with us. Mikey has to head out, but thank you for that scoop punchline coming to the MCU. Any updates on if Kraven and Scorpion are in Spider-Man 3? Yes. Yes, they are. It's going to be the Sinister Six is eventually coming. It's either going to, I would think Sinister Six is coming in Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man 4. My guess is Spider-Man 3 since we're already seeing the groundwork for it, but definitely get Scorpion's a bit too expensive already, but I think Kraven is a good bet, even though it's still pricey too. Yes, you should definitely get the Hobgoblin. It's coming. They've been setting it up. And what other way to make the Hobgoblin turn evil than the way they've already portrayed it? I mean, it would just be heartbreaking to see Ned Leeds just turn against Peter Parker that way, since it's been his homie. And you've seen all the weight he's lost. I'm just saying he may be getting into a little Hobgoblin shape. No love for the White Tiger. We had White Tiger on a long-term spec list. He's been bandied around with we had him on the Shang-Chi long-term spec list. He may be one of the fighters that are in the kind of game, the Enter the Dragon tournament. There's been word about him in Black Panther 2. I don't think so. I think that script is still early, but the White Tiger is coming. But I even heard that possibly in a Netflix series that you're going to see it, and it's going to be the original iteration, the first Puerto Rican version. Maybe his daughter too, but definitely White Tiger is a name we've been hearing a lot, so it's just a matter of time, man. That's why it's good when you get these long-term spec lists, just snatch them up now while you can. Oh, and by the way, Planet Arizona Comics says, everyone is going to be in Spider-Man 3 at this rate. Can't wait for Black Cat. Part of our Into the Multiverse of Madness, the last scoop on it is Felicia Hardy will be in Spider-Man 4. So there you go. That's your Black Cat scoop. So she won't be in Spider-Man 3, but she'll be in Spider-Man 4. Because if you think about Black Cat, she's kind of this sensuous, sexy character, and Parker is still in high school, but by the time Spider-Man 4 comes out, he'll be in college. So it's going to be the college years is the next trilogy of films. That's what we heard was the last Kraven. So will Mephisto show up in WandaVision and Doctor Strange too? I think he will show up, maybe not play a prominent role, but what we've been told is the third Doctor Strange film is going to be Triumph and Torment. And if you know what that is, that's Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom going to hell to get back the soul of Doctor Doom's mother from Mephisto. So he is lurking. I don't believe all the stuff I'm reading right now where he's in WandaVision, maybe here and there, but it definitely, if we don't at least see him, his name will be dropped as one of the multiverses. But I'm what I'm hearing, eventually he is definitely going to be in the third Doctor Strange film. Yes, JLS Comics. Dom Toretto is confirmed for Spider-Man 3. The Dumb and the Slow. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. You know, it's just when you say you need some Sleepwalker in the MCU, because we actually had him on our long-term spec list, but it was for back when Hulu still had these plans for doing a supernatural horror line before Jeff Leb got asked to leave or axed to leave. That Sleepwalker was on the list of supernatural characters that they wanted to use, but I would not sleep on those supernatural books at all. Anything to do with the supernatural horror books, just snatch them all up. The Bronze Age is rife with great pickings of those books. it's only a matter of time that they're going to be doing these books. I mean, Doctor Strange is already going kind of that dark, scary route, and they have a huge library of characters they could choose from. So it's only a matter of time before they get into the more of the supernatural stuff. I don't know about Sam Alexander. Sam Alexander has already been used in the animated series. So, you know, I don't think, I mean, you're definitely going to get Dick Ryder coming to the big screen, not Sam Alexander. So, Wolf Blitz, Terrax. Yes. Terrax was on our long-term spec list for, the talks that they've had for the Fantastic Four. So at this point, spec all the Silver Surfer heralds because Galactus is coming. The early plans were for the Fantastic Four was to do. So they're gonna do the next Endgame level event is Secret Wars. In between that is going to be Annihilation Wave, and we already see Secret Invasion coming. And I think FF2 or 3, they've already planned this stuff out that it will be, Galactus, Silver Surfer, and Terrax, who is probably my favorite as far as the villains for that. Who would make a good punchline? That's a good question. I would say young Kelly Hu because she was badass in the X-Men film as a bad guy. Any update on Let There Be Carnage? No, that is surprisingly quiet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, God, we got a trailer so long ago and we haven't heard anything ever since. So the last I heard was Venom is going to be in Spider-Man 3 by some site. So yes, definitely Loki's going to connect to the multiverse. If not, obviously he's time traveling. As you can tell in those pictures, there's a great image of him basically doing DB Cooper jumping out of an airplane. So he's messing with time and multiverses. I mean, here's the book that you should really be interested. The movie is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Don't sleep on it. It's called Quantumania. So it's definitely going to delve into the quantum realm again. I mean, you remember when Ant-Man and the Wasp, everybody thought was just a throwaway film, ended up being the plot points from that film were one of the major plot points of Avengers Endgame. So, you never know. I love it. Her as Lady Sif was one of my favorites. Hell, I even liked her when she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Lady Sith is a badass, and we need more Lady Sith. And, why not have them team up a female gallery of Valkyries kicking ass? Well, I don't know where it is coming, but it's coming. We had Steak on our long-term spec list. Does Devo get paid overtime? You've done a lot of video lately. We appreciate you and 3 Men in the Basement and Mikey. No, I do not get paid overtime. Hell, I don't even get paid for this. I have a regular day job, and YouTube does not pay me at all. Whatever the ad revenue is non-existent. You put it this way. On my old channel, I had one video that hit 650,000 views before my channel got taken down. And the estimated ad revenue on that was going to be $1,100. So figure it out. Figure out how many videos you have to make and how many views you need to get to make a living off of that. So 650,000 views. Doesn't matter how many subs you have. You're going to have 200,000 subs, but if you only get 5,000 views a video, I can tell you right now, that's like $5-6 a video. It's content and the full amount of them. Will Brute Force have a series? Where did that rumor start from? Somebody was talking about that. I know I saw that somewhere. I know Jesse. Yeah, I remember Jesse saying Quantumania has Ant and Man for it. It also has the word mania in it. So, there's that. We're hoping so. Beta Ray Bill will show up. If you guys are living under a rock, Gore the God Butcher is coming for Beta. Here's the story, man. So if you haven't read Gore the God Butcher, basically Gore the God Butcher did wrong when he was younger on his alien planet. So his mission in life is to kill all the deities that he can. So who knows? Maybe he's taking out Thor and somebody he needs help. So he calls his boy Beta Ray Bill. But the Beta Ray Bill is a great spec. Actually, yes, Marvel Freak. Are there still talks about Blade crossing over Jared Leto's Morbius? The crossover seems to be, it seems too perfect to waste. You missed an O. Sorry. The last scoop that we had you know what? You guys need to watch our videos, man. Let me put it on here. Look at our Morbius long-term scoop. And on that long-term spec, we actually had a Morbius scoop inside there too. And Sony wants Morbius to cross over with Blade. Now, obviously, that's up to Kevin Feige to make that decision, but I will drop the video in here so you guys can read the scoop yourselves. But go check out this video for all things Morbius. Yeah, I'll drop it in here. Go check it out. That's our Morbius long-term spec video. And in that, during the scoop, that Sony wants Morbius to play in the MCU sandbox with Kevin Feige. Obviously, Kevin Feige is a wait and see. He wants to see how Morbius does on the big screen. But Sony wants them to do a Midnight Suns that would include Blade and maybe some other supernatural characters. And that's why I'm telling you, get those supernatural characters. But if it doesn't happen and Kevin Feige is like, no, I just want Spider-Man and maybe Venom and, not Morbius. Maybe Morbius tanks. Maybe it gets really bad reviews. But Sony's plan is if Disney or Marvel doesn't give us something to play with, then what they're going to do is Sony already has plans for what they see as their trilogy of films. And what they're talking about is instead of the Midnight Suns, it would be the, what's that other team? Gosh darn it. I forgot already. Watch the video and you'll see. You got to get a sponsor like Monster Drink or Disney Plus. I don't know about Monster Drink. I would think maybe like... you know what? I'll take some whiskey as a good sponsor. There you go. I mean, doesn't every celebrity make tequila now? I mean, why not? Yes, it is. I've always said the Jason Aaron run on Thor is the best of the 2000s. One of the best of the 2000s, hands down. When people say Donny Cates is God, you're full of shit. Jason Aaron is God when it comes to writing, okay? I don't know. I mean, Donny Cates is fine and everything. He likes to push things, but man, the storytelling of Jason Aaron is absolutely incredible. And Isaac Ribic, who did the art on that Thor run, is absolutely incredible also. All right, running out of time here. Hey, look at that. Nemesis Prime has OnlyFans. If you give him enough money, he may show a nipple. One more question. Are there talks of the leader coming back in She-Hulk? I don't know. I mean, you have the Abomination coming back. So there you go. I mean, obviously the leader, I'm trying to remember the last Hulk film when his head got all big and what happened to him. Did his head explode? No, his head didn't explode. But, the leader isn't really a She-Hulk thing per se. I mean, it's more of a Hulk villain. And so, I mean, I would expect, like other specs like Tundra and these other kind of big buff women to be fighting with, but Abomination's coming back. So you never know. I mean, and Tim Roth is coming back to play. Is it Tim Roth? Yeah. He's coming back to play Abomination. That's pretty incredible. Cause man, that movie was a long time ago. All right. It's going on 45 minutes now, man. So, I'm getting a little hungry. So I appreciate you guys all, man. So you know what? I read all the letters. So, I'm going to read the scoop one more time. We got this scoop right, as I got this scoop at the end of the show, as I was getting live in the air. I didn't know it was, coming. So I'm going to read you guys the scoop one more time before I head up out of here. The following is a surprise scoop from Mikey Sutton at geekositymag.com. After Disney dropped their nuclear missiles on Investor Day, all eyes turned to HBO Max. While HBO Max has a large-scale original DC content already officially announced, such as the Snyder Cut and Greg Berlanti's Green Lantern series, it's obvious to everyone they are looking up at the House of Mouse grinning with their Infinity Gauntlet of MCU and Star Wars weaponry. The Mandalorian season finale last night generated the kind of long-term buzz from Disney Plus that HBO Max covets. The Snyder Cut, from all the tremendous excitement it has generated among DC fans, doesn't change the fact that Snyder is a polarizing figure, either loved or loathed. And it won't interest the general public who have no idea what the Snyder Cut is, like they do Baby Yoda. Yeah. When a regular person is asked about the Green Lantern, they will immediately think of Ryan Reynolds' cinematic flop, probably. So what can HBO Max do? To get that kind of water cooler, or these days Zoom conversations, they need to bring the Joker or Harley Quinn to the streaming HBO Max live action. But they can't, at least not in live action. There might be a version of the Joker who'd pop up in an HBO Max series, such as the guest villain, but WB is concerned a Joker show would take away interest in another theatrical film. And Harley Quinn is pretty much adopted by Margot Robbie for a while, although Birds of Prey sequel won't take flight as we know now. So DC goes to its bench and looks for a solution. They can't use the Joker, but they can bring in a Punchline. In March, Punchline quietly showed up on one of the Lords of Longbox long-term spec lists for DC films. With COVID-19 raging, though, the release of vaccines still won't open theaters on a grand scale for a while, and Disney Plus is on HBO Max's mind. I'm told there have been discussions for a Punchline series for HBO Max. No development has begun yet. They're talking and tossing out ideas. From a marketing point of view, Punchline may be no Joker, but she's no joke either. Exec see her as a cross between the Joker and Harley Quinn, and that equals subscribers. We're not talking Mandalorian numbers here, but an R-rated, violent, dark female Joker is a stuff of streaming fantasies. However, since it's only chatter at the moment, this remains to be seen. They already greenlit Naomi. They already greenlit Wonder Girl, and that even hasn't even come out yet. So read the tea leaves, man. Punchline to HBO Max. It's going to happen, I think. All right. Whew. That's it, boys and girls. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me for 4 days in a row. I'm probably sick and tired of me. I am going to just chillax and I'm going to rewatch the last 3 episodes of The Mandalorian again tonight and just kick back, relax, put on my headgear, take a trip through the atmosphere, all that good stuff. I want to thank all you guys so much for hanging out with me. Short notice. There was about 80 of you guys watching. I know there's a lot of other shows going on right now. And, typically the Letters of Longbox, people don't know. It's ongoing shows that we have the fewest views on, but we have the most comments on, which is interesting to me, right? It typically has a ton of comments in it, but not a lot of views. So it tells me that people do want their questions answered. But it's just not something that you guys. So we shall see. All right. I think that's it. Here, I'm going to drop a link in here. Go support our friends at Beyond the Blast Doors. They're going live in 10 minutes right now. We had David on our show last night toward the tail end of the show for a good 30 minutes. We're geeking out on Star Wars stuff. Tonight, they're having a big Christmas show talking Star Wars. And if you want to talk Mandalorian spoilers, that is the place to go and talk Mandalorian spoilers because it is a spoiler zone, not spoiler free zone, but spoiler zone. So go ahead and peep it out. I may be a call-in viewer, so just to talk about it all. And I hope you guys have a really great and safe weekend, and we will see you guys soon. I'm not saying Merry Christmas yet because I'm going to see you guys again on Tuesday for the CovrPrice Top 10, and then we'll probably have a Christmas Eve show, which is going to be the Shaker show. So, I work from home, so I might as well. If you guys have nothing to do on Christmas Eve, come and fuck with your boy. We'll have a good time, man. Drink some virtual eggnog and do some stuff and, nothing too crazy, but we're just going to keep on trucking on like 2020 is just another year, right? All right. So until next time, boys and girls, I appreciate all your questions. I hope we answered them. And after this video posts, not now in the comment section, but if you have any questions that you'd like Mikey and myself to answer in regards to movies and TV shows from the DC or Marvel side, please make sure you leave a comment once the video posts. And until next time, boys and girls, keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.
Now let's do this! Rewind, select and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In this you shall know that the Lord is One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! We're here! We're back!
Let's do a job!
You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I'll
I won't even notice.
Oh, how so?
I'll be too busy